everyone. Welcome to my live. Just getting myself set up with my tea here. Okay, there we go. All right, so today, let me take a drink. So today I'm going to cast off on two little swatches that I'm working on. I'm going to do a really simple cast off. I'm just going to cast off knitwise on the pearl side of this swatch so that I could get the pearl bumps to be on this side to kind of mimic this edge of the swatch. It's my preferred method for casting off some stockinette swatches. And then I'm going to do a 1x1 tubular bind off on this little swatch here that I'm working on. But for this swatch here, I need to bring up the instructions, which I don't have in front of me, so I'm going to grab them here and get them on my computer because I'm sitting at my desk while I work. I actually really prefer to knit sitting at a table. I don't know how you guys feel about knitting. I just can't sit on a couch anymore and knit. It hurts my back and it's just really bad for my posture. So I don't do that anymore. And it's really interesting in social settings. Like this past weekend I was at a retreat and everybody was like kind of sitting around on the couches and I kind of wanted to join in, but then I sat down on the couch and immediately my back was like, nope, 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 nope. We're not gonna do this. So I just like sat next to the table at the chair and everyone was really like into just relaxing and sitting on the couch. And I was like, this is how it works for me. I have to sit at the table and it is what it is. I completely embrace it. Let me just pull up my notes here onto, that was not the one I wanted. This one, there we go. Okay. So I think we'll start with the more complicated cast off. Let's do it. Let's do the hard one. So I'm going to do a 1x1 tubular bind off. I've already done my setup row, my setup stitches here, but I'm going to take it out. So don't pay attention to this right now. I'm just undoing what I did before. I'm putting it back to the beginning with the setup row, the setup stitches. There we go. I'm gonna make sure that you guys can see me. This is always a little awkward too because I don't have any feedback. So feel free to leave me comments if I go off screen and you can't see anymore. I feel like this is really low. Let me just reposition my angle again. Kind of want my hands to be in the center. Okay, so not to get confused with things, I'm gonna take off all the other stuff from the screen here. So for this 1x1 tubular bind off, I measured off the yarn, so it's not attached to the ball anymore. And I measured off about 4 times the length of this circumference here. So that's about the equivalent of this here, you can see. And so when we get started, we do the setup stitches for the 1x1 tubular bind off. Let me pull up my little notes here. I made myself a little memory technique. I say that like you guys know. I think that's a French word actually that we say memo technique. Hi Angela. Angela says, hi Aimée, just about to cast on a tee and silk tweed. Oh my gosh, that is so exciting. I can't wait to see it. If you're watching this live, I would love to know your name and maybe where you're tuning in from and just to say hi. I'd love to know where everyone is. It is currently 2:44 in the afternoon here in Paris. We just finished lunch. I had lunch with my son today. I'm having a tea. As you can see, it's like a blue tea. This is the thé bleu from Mariage Frère. It's a really nice tea. It was given to me as a gift for my birthday a couple weeks ago. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the 1x1 tubular bind off, and I am starting with a purl stitch here and I'm going to do my setup. So the first stitch is going to be on the front stitch here. I'm going to enter the needle in purlwise, and I'm going to leave the stitch on the needle. And then the second stitch, I'm going to go from behind. I'm going to skip the first stitch and then insert this needle in knitwise. And now I brought it to the front, and now I'm going to enter the needle here knitwise. So that is the setup for this. And now going forward, I'm going to be repeating 4 different techniques all the way to the end until I'm finished. So this next stitch will be on the front. We're going to go in knitwise. And I'm going to pull the stitch off. And then I'm going to skip the first one and then go in purlwise on the second stitch here and leave that stitch on. So sometimes the needle gets stuck on the back needle. You can pull this out if you want to, but I find it always taps on the table while I'm working and I don't like it, so I just kind of hold it back there. Right? Then the next step will be purlwise on the front stitch, and we want to take that stitch off. And we want to go to the back and we want to skip this first stitch. So I'm going to put my needle through. See, I'm skipping it right there. Pull this needle through. Or sorry, pull the thread through. And then insert the needle knitwise and leave it on. Okay, so it's too early to see exactly what I'm doing. I have to do a couple more of the repetition, and I'll show you the edge. Just want to scroll through and see where everyone's tuning in from. We've got Southern Florida. We've got another person in Florida. So good morning, Florida. We have Stacy from Houston, Texas, 7:45 in the morning. Good morning. We have a Française here from Brittany in Lorient, and she's working on her Embrace cowl in the Miyazaki colorway. That's amazing. And oh, Paola's online. Hi, Paola. She's taking a second coffee break, so she's jumping in to say hi. I wonder, Paola, are you in Italy now, or are you in the United States? So now we're going to go back and we're going to repeat, minus the first two steps that we did. We're going to repeat knitwise off. So knitwise off. And then purlwise on, but skipping that first stitch. Okay. And then we're going to do front purlwise off. So I'm going in purlwise, taking it off the needle, pulling my yarn through. There we go. And then back, we're going to skip the first stitch, and we're going to go right in. And we're going to go into this second stitch knitwise and leave it on. Obviously, it has to stay on because you can't take it off because there's already a stitch here. There we go, and then we're going to repeat again. So front knitwise stitch off. Great. And then we're going to skip this stitch and go from the back. Stick the needle through like that, and we're going to go purlwise into that second stitch. So I actually do an extra movement of pulling the yarn through and go purlwise in and leave it on. This next one is purlwise on the front stitch and then take it off. And then we skip to the back, and we want to use this stitch here, so I put the needle through and bring it to the front, and I'm going to go knitwise on. And we're starting to do the tubular bind off. So as you can see, the stitches are continuous going all the way to the back to the front. So let's keep going. It's a little hard to see in the beginning once it gets started. All right, so we'll start again with front stitch. We're going to go in knitwise, and then we're going to take it off. Next, we're going to skip the first stitch and then go in purlwise. So now this time I'm not going to pull my yarn all the way through the middle here. I'm just going to do the movement like this and then we want to go in purlwise, like that. So it's a little bit more confusing because you have to actually get it between the two stitches and then go in purlwise. So this is why I just do the extra step of bringing the yarn forward like this and then take the needle through purlwise. Like that. And then this first stitch where we're going to go in purlwise and we're going to take it off. There we are. And then on this back one, we're going to go in purlwise, or no, we're going to go in between the two stitches, I'm sorry. Bring the yarn to the front, and then we want to go in knitwise and leave the stitch on the needle. And obviously it stays on the needle. And what I'm creating here is this tubular bind off that creates the stitch going continuously over to the other side. I can show you, I'm not going to do this all the way through because it's going to take a really long time. It'll take up the whole live. But what happens is, let me show you an example. It makes it look like this all the way through. So that is 1x1 tubular bind off. Let me know in the comments with a heart if you guys love doing tubular cast on and tubular bind off. I would love to know how you feel about it. I'm a big fan of this technique because it makes your knitwear look super polished and you have really nice edges. So let me know in the comments. Leave me a heart in the comments if you guys like the tubular 1x1 tubular cast on and bind off. So I'm going to move on to my other swatch because I don't want to make this live too long today. Just want to keep it about 20 to 25 minutes. And I'm going to show you how I like to bind off when I just do plain stockinette swatches. So this little tiny swatch is obviously not for a gauge swatch for a sweater. It's more for the color. I wanted to swatch Amy's peach sweater. So this is this season's Amy's peach sweater in my confetti collection. As you can see, it's really different than last year's version of Amy's peach sweater. And I really like how different it is. I am totally in love with these like little yellow pops right here. We definitely added more yellow threads into this mix of confetti than we did last year. Last year's had a lot of blue in it. And I just wanted to make a little color swatch. And so I like to knit about this size of a swatch for each of my samples of confetti so that I have like a little collection. I call them knit chips. So it's just a very small little swatch here so we can just get an idea of the nuances of the color. And so I like to do it in basic stockinette. I'll do 2 stitches of garter stitch on the edge. I cast on with a cable cast on, and here I purled across the end so I can get this just nice purl bumps here. And now I'm going to bind off. Sorry, I've got my window open so you can hear the fire trucks going by. My office is right next to a fire station. So to achieve the purl bump in the front, you want to cast off knitwise, but on the wrong side facing you. Actually, I think I already knit, yes, I already knit this first stitch. And I'm just doing a basic bind off. Look at this cute little mug that I got from an event that I did at McKinney Knittery in Texas earlier this year. We had a coffee and craft hour together. And I love how big this mug is. So I can make myself big teas. So if you're just tuning in now, I am binding off a little color swatch, or what I call a knit chip, of Amy's peach sweater on my confetti base. I am using a 4mm needle. Usually if I was like really binding off for like a garment, I would probably go up a needle size just so I can keep this edge nice and supple, but this is just a little swatch, so it doesn't really matter. Let me know in the comments what you guys are knitting. Are you guys working on anything right now? We saw that someone was knitting a top in silk tweed. Has anyone knit with my new confetti yarn? If so, please leave me a comment. I'd love to read about what you're knitting. Ugh, just love this right here, this green mixed in with the pink, so pretty. All right, so looking down at the comments, it seems like a lot of people are totally into the tubular cast on and bind off. How fun. Okay, this loop is always really big when I get down, so watch this. I'm just gonna bind off. Then it's always got this like big loop right here. So I find if I want to avoid having this big loop at the end, I go into the stitch below and hold the stitch below and the stitch on top together like that. And I'm going to knit and then bind off. There we go. And it kind of brings everything together and makes that loop a little less big. Pull that all the way through. Ta-da! No big loop. And then I'm going to grab my scissors. And there is my little knit chip ready to go. So I'm going to make one of these for each of the colors of confetti that are coming out this year, and I like to keep them in my knitting notebook, especially if I'm working on a design. And I actually am working on a design with this color and the Shire, which is our lovely green that came out. Here I have it in a swatch. This is the Shire confetti with anemone, which came out earlier this spring. So what I'm doing is I'm actually making a design using these two colors together. I don't know why. I just, when I saw these together on the shelf, I was like, ugh, I have to make something. And here is a really pretty tubular cast on for this little swatch here. So neat and tidy. So these are colors of confetti. We have Amy's Peach Sweater, Anemone, and the Shire. I have another swatch here with Gris Éphémère. So this is a pretty good example to show you. This is Gris Éphémère from last year. This was my trial run for this year's confetti. So in this trial run, we were getting lots of things correct. We were correcting the twist on the yarn. We were also correcting the fiber blend. I wanted to bring more softness into the fiber blend. And so in this blend, we really used the final blend that ended up being in confetti, which is a blend of Shetland wool, plus a blend of superfine merino and our LBA threads, which create these really cool nups. So this was Gris Éphémère, and I'm going to show you, let me make sure I've got the right ones here. Okay. This is the new Gris Éphémère, and it's really hard to see. I'm realizing that like on screen here, it's hard to tell. This is much lighter, whereas the new one is darker. I think I'm going to have to post photos because on the screen you cannot differentiate, but there is definitely a difference in the new Gris Éphémère that's going to be coming out in June. But here is Gris Éphémère 1, which is online right now, striped with the Shire. I love how these are all coming out. And these were swatches for a sweater design that I'm working on right now. I just wanted to stop for a second to see if anyone has any questions. I see some people are responding to my question. Aimée is knitting a second canal poncho in Corey worsted and now onto the third poncho. Oh my gosh, Aimée, that is amazing. Please send me photos. I would just love to see those canal ponchos. Marguerite, which is our friend Marianne, she's knitting with silk tweed for Amine Rose in anemone and yellow, and I imagine it's Elbia yellow. Well, that's incredible. I can't wait to see that. And Lisa, you're currently knitting a mini mock neck tank, and she's using local dyer's yarn, 80% merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. That's a great blend. I bet it'll have really nice drape, and a little bit of nylon always adds to the durability. Sounds cool. Okay, so my notebook is busting out because I've got lots of things going on in here. So last time I did a live, I kind of showed off some of these swatches that I had worked on earlier. And then I have a couple new ones that I have worked on while I was away. Last week I was in the Netherlands, in an island on the northern part of the Netherlands called Texel. I was attending and teaching at the Knots 24 retreat by Moonstruck Knits. I taught 2 classes, and we had a little mini market, and LBA popped up, and I worked on some swatches for another sweater design that I have in mind, that I've had in mind for a while, trying to recreate this fabric that I have in my mind. That's a little bit denser than what I've normally knit in the past years, but I really love this fabric that's created using 1 strand of Felix and 1 strand of Little Kumo. You could definitely use Helix or Alix in the place of it. And I just love, so I just went through and kind of marled different colors together. This is the same color of Felix Avoine and Felix Little Kumo. And here is Avoine on Helix, which is a gray base, with the Little Kumo and Avoine, so that you can kind of see the difference between Felix and Helix. This is Avoine, knit on, dyed on both colors. I love it. Love the subtle gray here. And then we did the same thing here with Flora Morganite, Felix and Helix, using Little Kumo and Flora Morganite across both sections. As you can see, the Helix portion is a little heathered. You can see the difference of the thread. It's hard to see because it's so thin and the resolution of the screen isn't so super great. But yeah, that's the difference that's going on here. So I really love how this fabric feels. It feels a little, it's definitely denser than what I've normally knit in the past, but it feels so soft. And this was an idea that I had to take Helix Avoine and Flora Morganite Little Kumo. Here you can see the difference of the 2 threads. There's Little Kumo and that's Helix, and marl them together. This is on a 3 I believe this is a 3.25 needle. Oh wait, I wrote it down because there we go. 3.25, and I cast on 26 stitches. I was working on this at the retreat, so I didn't necessarily have like my whole notebook and everything with me, but I do keep these little tabs inside of my notions pouch, just in case I need to write. I need to write some notes down really quick, and I don't want it to get lost from the swatch. But I love this subtle marl that's happening here with Avoine Helix and Flora Morganite Little Kumo. This might be my final color, but I also started another swatch while I was at the retreat, swatching these 2 together. So essentially what I did is I swapped the colors on the base. So here it's the Avoine that's in Helix. So that would be the equivalent of what Felix is here. And the fuzzy yarn was Flora Morganite here. In this swatch, the fuzzy yarn is Avoine and the Felix is Flora Morganite. And it looks like this. Oop. Kind of lost my stitches here. Let me pick those back up again. we go. And what I'm swatching out here is this idea for a button band, just playing around with different finishing techniques. I definitely want to integrate a sort of folded hem like that. And I think that this might actually be my final color that I land on. I also really love the density of the stitches right here. You can see the difference of the two colors. Maybe if I lay them down, see it more clearly. Yeah, I think that this is the winner. So this will probably be the color that I'm going to work my prototype sweater in, and will probably be the final color for my sweater. And right now I'm knitting on a 3.25 millimeter needle. Totally in love with this fabric. So those are some new swatches that I started working on this last week while I was in Texel. Let's see, did I write down anything else? No, that's all I did. And also I just wanted to show some of our fun new swatches that we have been showing on social media a little bit so that you can get a better appreciation of them. So this is my new color that I released for my birthday promotion. This is called Kyopda, which means cute in Korean. I'm gonna play around with the light a little bit. Let's see. Okay, this is a mix of warm and cool. It's not bad. This is a cool tone light. I think it's a little too cold. That's too warm. Okay, we'll stay with this light. This is the warm cold mixture light. So this is Kyopda on Merino DK. Really beautiful. And then we did another swatch in garter stitch. Love how this comes out. And my favorite is this crochet swatch that we made. So this is just a big granny square that we crocheted in Kyopda. And it is so cute. I mean, honestly, when I look at this, the first word that comes to my mind is like, oh, so cute. I love how crochet pulls together all the different individual colors from this colorway. So this is a really great way to see all the base colors. So you can see it goes from like peach to mint to pink. And then this is like very lightly speckled. So you can see all the little micro speckles kind of come together because of the crochet stitch. So this is just a plain granny square, which is what I was working on last week, or no, the week before in my last live. So much fun. I really love how this came out. So this color is called Kyopda. And then we have been reviewing all of the Miyazaki colors, and we've swatched them all. I wanted to show you some of these swatches that were made on my knitting machine. I trained Amanda from my team on how to use my knitting machine, and she's been having some fun and making some swatches. And so here's a really cute one. This one's called Calcifer. This is from Howl's Moving Castle. It's supposed to be, he's the little fire dude in the movie. So this pretty much captures all of his colors. Of course, I threw in a little bit of pink because it's LBA and I love pink, and I throw pink in everything. So this is really cool. I love how we can see all the colors kind of break out when we knit it in this like small circumference. So this will give you an idea if you were to knit socks. So this is, I wonder how many stitches we cast on. Did we cast on? We might have cast on 66. That's the full amount of stitches I can cast onto the middle section of my machine. So if I fold this in half, we can just imagine it's like a sock. So if you were to knit a sock in Calcifer, this is what the color distribution would look like until you get to the part where you work on the heel, and then you would get some kind of breakout of each of these colors, which is super fun and cool to see. Next up, we have Ponyo. This is like my first Miyazaki color I ever created, and I actually created it long before I decided to even make a Miyazaki collection. This is the representation of two of my favorite characters from the movie Ponyo, and it's for these two characters named Ponyo and Sosuke, who become friends. And so I just feel like that this is the combination of their colors plus their friendship coming together. And I really love how this looks. So if we fold it in half, that gives you an idea of kind of what a sock would look like if you knit it in Ponyo and Sosuke. Okay, so next up we have Grandma Marée, who is technically the mother of Ponyo. So we'll just put Ponyo here too so we can see it. And then we have Fujimoto, who is technically the father of Ponyo. So Ponyo is the little girl in the film. And when you watch the movie, you'll see that this color represents Fujimoto because of the way he dresses and some of the color tones of the character. Very subtle speckles on this one. The pooling on this color is spectacular. Honestly, think about a pair of socks like that. And Grandma Marée looks like this, knit up in the swatch. Again, really spectacular swatching or pooling happening here. And you can just imagine if you fold this in half, this is what it would look like in a sock. And in all honesty, you can knit these as a fade. They would work together if you knit all three of them together. And I know I have a swatch somewhere of all three of them knit together. I guess I will show you that in my next live. So Ponyo and Sosuke was the first color I created from this movie. And then I created Grandma Marée and Fujimoto, who are the parents. So these all three characters are related. And after that, we definitely had fun making crochet swatches of Grandma Marée. So Grandma Marée looks like this, knit in stockinette. And here we have it as a granny square. I just love, again, how crochet kind of brings all the colors out, and we can see each of the color notes separately. From a distance, it looks like camouflage. It's really hard to identify what crochet stitch we use, but it's just a plain granny square. And here we just did a full granny square of double crochet all the way across. And this too has kind of a camouflage feel. I love how both of them look really different on how they pull out each of the colors. It's super fun. So we're working on making crochet swatches for all of the Miyazaki colorways. We've already started featuring them on our social media so you can see them, but I will start talking more about them in these little lives on my Knit Lab as well, so we can give a little love towards crochet as well. There we go. And my last swatch today is another crochet swatch, is this one. This is in Gris Éphémère, and this is our new version of Gris Éphémère in the crochet version. And this is just a plain granny square. And I just love how this feels. Honestly, this for me is like giving me total blanket vibes. I would love to have a blanket. Also, there's that new cardigan by Tanis Lavallee that came out with crochet granny squares, and I was thinking of making one as a single color cardigan in Gris Éphémère. So I think that would be really cool. That cardigan that she designed is like the front is crochet, and then the sleeves and the button band is knit. Okay, well, you guys, that's all I have for today's live. We are here at the 30-minute mark, and this is perfect for me because I do need to go hang up and finish working the rest of my day. I've got a couple more hours to go. But thanks for tuning in, and if you like this kind of content, please let me know in the comments, and I will keep doing it. And as always, if you want to stay in touch, subscribe to our newsletter. That's the best way to get all of our news so you don't miss out, and we always love to hear from you. So everybody have a great day, whatever you're knitting or crochet, and I'll see you soon. Bye.